Sequel pitch. A digital frontier. I try to picture sequels as they move through the podcast. What did they look like? Action scenes, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, or the sequels like Freeways? I kept dreaming of a world I thought I'd never see. And then, one day, you got in. That's right, kid. I got in. And the sequel was more beautiful than I ever dreamed. And also more dangerous than I ever imagined. Now, hop in bed now, kiddo. Come on. Now, I met a brave warrior. Drew. Bum, 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 bum. Drew. He fights for the podcast. He sure does. Oh, man, he showed me things that no one had ever imagined. There were these sequel fights, fought in spectacular arenas and sequel ideas that were like ribbons of shite. So radical. And together, you built a sequel. We built a new sequel for listeners and patrons. Now, I couldn't be in there all the time, so I created a sequel in my own image that could think like you and me. And I called him Andy. Absolute nutty dreamer Yodabite. That's right. And Andy, Drew, and I, we built a podcast where all sequels were free and open. Beautiful. And then, one day, something happened. Something extraordinary. A miracle. What was it? It was an ISO named Matt. Hello and welcome, users, to another episode of Sequel Pitch, a film podcast in which four friends pitch movie sequels that don't already have them and battle out to say theirs is the winner.
Yeah.
Hey, there you go. There was your movie intro.
That was very good.
I had me hooked, man. I didn't want you to stop. You could have done the whole movie. Why did you make me turn the bad guy?
No, you're cool. You're Clue. You know, he wasn't always bad. As you probably can tell from the episode title and that little intro, we are pitching sequels to the 2010 Tron Legacy, directed by Joseph Kosinski. So in case you haven't seen it, go and watch it and we'll wait. Okay, look, if you insist, we can do a 60-second synopsis that may be that length, but it might not be. So, here we go. In 1989, computer genius Kevin Flynn tells his young son about his adventures in the cyber world of Tron. He talks about the friends he's made and his emissary, Clue, which is a program he made in his likeness. He promises that one day he'll take him to the grid, but Flynn disappears and Sam is devastated. 20 years later, his father's company, Encom, is being operated by the board who take the company in a different direction as opposed to Flynn's. Sam spends his time moping. You even know, you haven't even written it. Moping over his father's disappearance and pulling a prank on the board. One day, Alan Bradley, his father's best friend, tells Sam that he's got a page from the phone at his father's office at his arcade. Sam wonders why it's so important. Alan tells him because it's the number's been disconnected for 20 years. Alan still clings to the hope that Flynn is out there and he didn't walk away from his work and Sam. He gives Sam the keys to the arcade. Sam goes there and finds his father's workstation, and after entering a few codes, finds himself in the grid. Oh, shit! After being mistaken for a program, he finds himself subject to all sorts of contests, but when they discover he is not a program but a user, he is brought to the head man who Sam thinks is his father, but later discovers it's fucking Clue, and he makes Sam take part in a light cycle battle. Sam is saved by a program named Cora, who takes him to his father. That's where he tells Sam that Clue turned on him and was planning to enter the world to fix the imperfections. So to stop him, he closed the portal trapping himself there, which is why he never came back. Sam wants to go back, but Flynn doesn't want to give to Clue the chance to carry out his plan, so he chooses not to. But Sam defies him, goes back. They have a fight. They go to the thing and the portal, and then Sam goes, "Dad!" And he's like, "No, take her to the real world," which doesn't make any sense. So a program goes out into the real world. Not sure how that happens. Clue then tries to run at Sam, but then is sort of sucked off by Jeff Bridges back inside himself. And Jeff Bridges does a sort of Kamehameha explosion thing that blows up all the troops that were going to leave and go into the real world. I fucked up by the end of that because I forgot to write the end bit of that synopsis. So there you go.
I'm not too sure how long we've got left of the podcast now, but I liked it.
So there you go, guys. You are clued up, right?
Very good. Very good.
So let's find out what we thought of this movie. We're going to give our base thoughts and scores out of 5, and then I'll give you what Matt thought of it as well. Let's go with Andy.
I got bored during this movie a lot. It wasn't as good as the first. It was quite repetitive. I made notes, but still have forgotten a lot about this movie. So I'm going to give it 1.5 Jedi Mind Punches.
Jedi Mind Punch.
Stupid.
1.5.
Yeah.
Oh, that is probably that is going to be one of the
Yowzers.
Okay, fair enough. Drew, what did you think?
I quite like this movie. I never saw. I didn't see the original until after I had seen this, and like I was excited for this because of Daft Punk. That was the big deal. That like, whoa, Daft Punk are doing the soundtrack, and that's why I saw it. And I thought it's fine. It's fine. Like it is. You can't think about it too much. You can't trying to make it work in terms of the world outside of the grid and things is really, really hard. And I'm sure we'll get into that when we get to pitching sequels and stuff. But I thought it looked incredible. The music's fantastic. I liked Garrett Hedlund as Sam. I know a lot of people didn't, but I did. Olivia Wilde was great. Jeff Bridges being effectively the dude again.
Yeah.
Like right down to the white robes.
Digital jazz, man.
Digital jazz, man. And yeah, I thought it was pretty cool. I'll go into more details in a bit, but I'm giving it 4. 4.
Wow. That's high.
4 inappropriate AI computer slave girls dressing people out of 5.
I'm going to say that this movie, when it came out, I think they pushed the visualization and the visuals for this movie, and I think they go even further to show that this is a digital world, more so than the other one, the first one, in terms of like, the first one being such a massive leap in technology in terms of what it did. I feel that this one kind of did that again, with the CGI characters and Jeff Bridges being young in it. I think the soundtrack is amazing. When I was rewatching it, I've obviously downloaded the soundtrack and I've been listening to it like for the last 2 weeks. Just so good. Wasn't a massive fan of Sam, the actor that played him.
I can't wait to get into the review section.
However, I thought Jeff Bridges and Cora and the other actors were very good in it. What's his name from
Michael Sheen.
Michael Sheen, yeah, being in it randomly, odd. Yeah. So I'm going to give this. I really like the story of like a father and the father and son relationship. So I'm going to give it. I'm going to meet Drew, and I'm going to say 4 Daft Punks out of 5.
I'm dragging this episode down. I hope
You
Matt's
are.
on my side.
And now I'm going to give you Matt's thoughts. He's sent them to me over by digital grid. That is WhatsApp. And I will now tell you the movie soundtrack fucking pops. Visually stunning, albeit apart from the costumes, ironically, which left me feeling like it was glow sticks stuck on the black bodysuit sometimes. The movie offers something fun but not original in a son on a mission to find his father. This one happens to be a leap into what I'm guessing is what any broadband mogul's HQ looks like. It's fun, fast-paced, and I enjoyed it. I'm certainly looking forward to what Disney will do with the franchise now that they have the power of Marvel and a ton of sci-fi experience, as it did feel a bit washy at times. Did I mention how fucking good the soundtrack is, by gum? 3.75 out of 5.
Oh. Yeah. There we go.
So what does that give us, Drew?
Comes out at 3.31 out of 5. So it is definitely a recommendation. Nearest
Not by Andy.
Not from Andy at all. Actually, comes in slightly above Fast 9 is our nearest nearest comparison. So there we go.
What would you give the first one?
I like the first one, but it was also kind of boring.
Oh, I love the first one more. The first one I'd give easy like 4.5. Even
I
maybe
found
a
the
bit
first
higher.
one
Yeah,
really.
I love the first one. I came into it quite late as well. I think the first time I watched it might have been like after uni. So like, but I don't know, something about maybe just the crappy graphics and all stuff like that. Like that had charm.
Very,
that was the main
it's
thing.
Very charming. It's like
yeah. That was I'll give a sneak peek into the review. It's very cold, this movie, isn't it? There's just nothing there. But we get into it.
So that's our base thoughts on the movie. If you want to hear our full review, then head on down to our Patreon and subscribe, and you'll get some extra content exclusively on our Patreon. So please go on, head on down to there. Patreon/sequel pitch, or the other backward slash. I don't know, fucking know. But yeah, head on down to our Patreon and subscribe.
Backslash? When's it ever been backslash?
Okay. I think it's time to get in our pitch cycles and go head to head, as it's time to get your sequels pitched. As usual, the rules are all the same. It's a head to head this time, so you won't have Matt to contest with, but you're going to go head to head. I might have some questions for you at the end, and we will see who is the winner, and we'll take on the mantle as head user. Cool. So let's go with Andy. What is your title?
Right, so I've got a few. I got stuck on the rhyming and puns names, so bear with me. First of all, I wanted a crossover with Anchorman, so it was going to be Tron Burgundy. Sam was going to be bedbound the whole movie with a bad case of tonsillitis.
Oh dear!
I got Tron with the Wind. Another crossover with Transformers. Two Trons don't make a right. I mean, I could go on. I've got the porn film as well, which is Tronsexual.
Nice.
But I got. All right, enough. Tron Takeover.
Okay,
that's the actual title. Right, so with hope Flynn may still be alive, Sam and Cora enter the grid to find the truth. But what goes in might not be what comes out.
Mm-hmm.
Right, so we open 10 years after Legacy, in a world that's kind of similar to ours in terms of technology. The must-have product of the time is this new improved Dillinger disc. It's a small micro disc that can be implanted into the brain, and we see an advert pop up with Cillian Murphy returning, and he describes the first Dillinger disc merely was for gaming, and now you can use this new improved one to chat with your friends, work from home without a laptop, order things online. We pull out and we see Sam and Cora watching this on a TV. It's a commercial. Oh, God, that was American. It's an advert. Sorry, Mum. Sam and Cora are in love, because that's how I saw it at the end, living happily together. We see Sam is still kind of dealing with losing his dad. He's not completely over it. And he says the Dillinger disc is just a cheap imitation of the Encom disc. But he doesn't have one because he doesn't trust them, and Cora doesn't have one because she doesn't obviously need one. One night, Cora has a dream and sees Flynn. So the next day, she wakes up Sam and tells him about it. And he says, yeah, I dream about him every night too. But Cora says, no, Sam, I can't dream. So I think it's a message sent from Flynn. She still thinks he's alive, and he might be trying to contact me. So Cora wants to go back and see if he's still alive, but Sam is hesitant. He obviously wants to go see his dad, but obviously he's a bit scared going back in case they don't come back. Eventually he agrees, and they both go into the grid. Once in the grid, they realize that the program seems fine and seems to be running perfectly from the outside, but inside the program is dying. Sam and Cora are caught by these program goons and are taken to Flynn. Sam tries to hug Flynn, but Flynn starts choking him. Cora then kicks Flynn, and we see Flynn's face change into scary CGI young Jeff Bridges. But it's not, it's obviously Clue. He says that when Flynn absorbed him at the end, he was able to copy his data and send it to a save file, but half of him copied and half of Flynn copied, so he's kind of half good, half bad, and he's constantly changing between good Flynn, bad Flynn, creepy CGI face, old man CGI face. Old man Flynn's face comes out, tells Sam to run, so they try and escape, but they're taken down by remember the big army Clue had there at the end of the corrupt programs and stuff? They're all Clues now, they all look like him. So they surround Sam and Cora and take him down, and Clue says he realizes there is only one perfect system, him, and he plans to leave the grid and take over reality. So he corrupts Cora and says because she's been living in reality for so long, she's the link that will be able to help him leave. Cora, now evil, kicks Sam off a ledge towards the sea of simulation. Evil Cora and Clue leave through the portal, and once outside, Clue kind of programs the laser to gotta put air quote print the grid. So the grid starts to infect our world, starts to affect reality. Shot of Sam falling to the water, but before he hits it, he's saved by some sort of platform. It's kind of it has to be. It will work with the CGI, but basically he's saved like a platform. It's revealed that that's like the ghost of Tron. He somehow survived because he's so evolved and powerful. He survived the fall into the sea, and he's just been kind of saving his energy and living there. He says he basically can sacrifice himself to open the portal and send Sam home, but once he's gone, he's literally gone forever, and it will be down to Sam to save the day. Clue in the real world goes to Dillinger Tower and kills Cillian Murphy. Realizing this system Dillinger built is shit and cheap, he corrupts the system and all the Dillinger discs that have been implanted in users all around the world. Everyone who has a disc starts to fall to the floor, yelling in pain, but when they get up, they've all turned into creepy CGI Jeff Bridges. Obviously, they are Clue. Clue uses the users basically to tell everyone in the world they have to become him or die, and then we have cuts of families refusing and fighting and bar fights and, thousands of Clues just taking over the world like an infestation. Sam kind of realizes where Clue is, fights some Clue copies and has some light cycles on the way to him as more of the grid infects reality. When Sam gets to the tower, Clue makes evil Cora fight him. Cora nearly fights Sam because she can control the grid a bit like Flynn could in Legacy. But obviously, right before he kills her, he brings her around with the power of love. So they all have a big fight, Sam and Cora, and loads of Clues. Finally, they get to the big bad himself. Finn kind of breaks free long enough to tell Sam that he needs to get Clue back into the grid and then destroy the program forever. Sam says, no, I can't do that. I mean, we will literally be losing you forever. And then kind of Flynn and Sam can finally get a proper goodbye. And then they defeat Clue and delete the program, and everyone lives happily ever after. Or do they? As an after-credit scene, Clue is revealed to still be alive in the internet.
Oh,
Mm.
like Ultron.
Not at all like Ultron. What are you talking about? What is this Ultron you speak of? Oh my God,
Thank you,
Ultron.
Andy.
How did I not think of that as a fucking title? I actually would have given it away. He's so good guessing.
Just a couple of questions. Do you feel having Jeff Bridges come back after sacrificing himself for his son to only come back to sacrifice himself for his son again is a bit cheapening the first one or the second one? Sorry.
No, because he has to this time. He has to come back. It's only half of him. It's a whole new experience that he's bringing, whole new motivation. So no, it's another big sacrifice. That's what he has to do. But it's all about the big farewell. That Sam could finally let his father go.
I mean,
that's what this whole story is about.
Okay. I'll leave it to Drew to argue. Sorry. Okay. So basically, in your story, Clue is Agent Smith, and he's trying to inject and make loads of Agent Clues. Yeah.
This is Agent Smith. You talk what? I don't know.
Me.
Okay, there might be similarities with some films already out there, but it works with this film.
No. I'm just I can see a little similarity on. What happened after? So this is a question I just wanted a clarification on.
Sure.
What happened? You might not know the answer, but what happened after Sam got out the grid for then Encom to like come out with this this new chip, because
disc.
didn't what's his fucking real name? Not Tron, the Tron, real life Tron in the real world.
The guy who played him.
Yeah, his name is Jeff Bridges' fucking mate.
Yeah,
in
I
the
know
real
who
world.
Tron is.
Anyway, him.
Yeah,
He has a conversation with Sam. Alan. That's it.
Alan. Sorry, yeah.
Alan has a conversation with Sam saying, "Oh yeah, you're gonna." He's like, "Oh, I think I'm gonna come back." So what happened?
He left Alan in charge. He was the CEO.
He just left Alan in charge, even though he went.
He was CEO. That's what he said. He was like, "You're CEO now," and he's like, "I'm going to peace out and hit my motorbike."
He made Alan the chairman, but he was going to come back as CEO.
Yeah.
That's
It's 10 years. It's been 10 years. He's like still there.
That's
Maybe
fine.
He's still working for the company. That's how he got in so easily.
Okay. All right. Just clarifying something. That's fine. Okay. Thank you, Andy. We will move over to our next combatant in the arena. Drew. Welcome, you. Anyway, yes. What is your title?
My title is Tron Iteration.
Oh, nice, cool.
Because I was like, oh, calling it Tron V 3.0, like, just felt a little bit hackneyed. So there we go.
Yeah. Go on. You can give a little blurb if you want.
Yeah, my blurb is years after Quora.
Yeah, it's hard to say.
It is. I want to say Quora, but you can just say Quora.
Yeah.
That's what they say, so fuck it. Years after Cora was rescued from the grid in Flynn's arcade and Sam took control of Encom, the pair are on the cusp of using the secrets of Cora's ISO DNA to fundamentally change the world. But when a figure from the past comes for retribution, Sam and Cora must run and fight for the future of the grid and perhaps humanity itself.
Oh, go for it.
So, okay. Movie opens with games on the grid. There's two fighters. They're doing disc fights. They have a light cycle battle, but every time one of them should have died, they don't actually die. And then finally they end on a new game that we haven't seen, and they fuse their discs into like a mainframe thing and with their minds control huge armies. And it's like a real big mental strain on the two people. And then the figure wearing black with pure white light wins. And they remove their helmets. We see that it's Sam and Cora. Cora happy in victory. Sam good-natured in defeat. They say break time is over. It's time to get back to work. It's time for some exposition. They zap back off of the grid and into their office at Encom Tower. Alan Bradley shows up and they talk. They have a nice exposition talk about all the work they've been doing for the last 13 years. Sam used the models, like the grids and the backups from Flynn's Arcade's grid, to build a new grid purpose-built for researching Cora's DNA. Despite it being like the most powerful computing system ever built, mapping Cora's code and DNA to unlock Flynn's vision of what she could bring to humanity has taken the better part of a decade, but now they are super duper close. A Chekhov's security guard comes in. They're on first name terms with, they're very good friends, and has a bit more exposition showing, oh, they're the only ones in the building. They're working late on the weekend, and don't stay up too late, you two. And they're still working. They go down to their other lab where they've got sections of code and the DNA, and they're using complex processes to identify the areas of her DNA that translate into the code, and they're matching bits up and all of that stuff. And they discuss the fact that even though Cora's not human, she's going to change the course of human development, and Cora's sad that she's the last ISO but has found her place with humans. And then, boom, the plot arrives, the lights go out, the building goes back to backup power, there's no communications with the outside. They start looking around the floor and they see a few men in black tactical gear with guns slowly sort of sweeping the floor. Not with brooms, like they're looking around the floor. They bump into the Chekhov security guard, who looks really guilty and admits that someone threatened to kill their family if they didn't help them break into the building. But they obviously feel really bad about it. The guard tells them that the people are after their research into ISOs and DNA, even though no one but Cora and Sam know exactly what it's all about. They're about to be discovered. The guard sacrifices themselves and helps Cora and Sam escape. We then have a mini, 10-minute section of the raid where the two of them have to, sneak fight their way up the building using their tech know-how and, and using their knowledge of the building and stuff to get past all the baddies and make it back up to the office where their grid is. It's definitely extremely cool. They make it up to their grid and they're confronted by Cillian Murphy.
Hey.
Edward Dillinger Jr. has returned in both movies. He is pissed off. He's been working on his own version of AI for the last 10 years and has used it to break into their systems and knows that they've been working on what they've been working on, or roughly what they've been working on. And he feels like it should have been his because the company should have been his father's, and blah, 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 big family drama, high drama. He knows they're the only ones with access to the research, so he's going to steal their results from the grid and make them disappear and destroy the building, and no one in the world will know that the research wasn't his instead of theirs. Sam and Cora dive into the laser because they know that Dillinger can't turn it off and move the system, because then everything will get wiped. They've got to get into the grid, get to the data, download it onto one of their disks, and then figure out how to escape. They get chased by Dillinger, and Dillinger imports a load of AI, and it's really scary and not at all like Ultron when he's attacking Jarvis. And the AI comes in and starts assimilating the good programs on their grid and turning them evil and a bit Agent Smith-like, and there's some similarities here. And so his army is growing every second, and there's lots of chasing and cool action scenes. And Sam and Cora meet with one of their top advisors in the grid, and they discuss the fact that, oh wait, shit, Sam and Cora can manipulate the grid as users like Flynn did in the first movie. But also the backups they use to build this grid are stored somewhere in the memory banks, and they might contain some information that will lead to more ISOs. Oh my god! The baddies arrive, they have to run some more, and big chase to the memory storage area. The memory storage area is really cool. It's based on what happens in Mike Bithell's game. The memory's all stored in trees. It's super cool. The pursuing forces are too close. They can't escape. They can't even manipulate in the grid. They can't do it. So Cora says she'll hold them off. She uses the battle system from the game at the beginning because she's better at it than Sam, and she's sort of fighting them off as Sam goes for the data. He gets to the data, and before he can download the DNA stuff, he downloads the location of Flynn's backup ARC server, which is the setting of Mike Bithell's game, again, that has more ISOs. He downloads it. He tells Cora on comms, and she's like, there are more ISOs? There are more. Oh my God, there are more. This is how you win. And so she sacrifices herself. She blows up the memory storage area that has all of her DNA data. She dies. She gets Sam on like one of her units and flies him back to the laser and shoots him out. And he's really sad and and pegs it out of the building before Dillinger can exit the machine. And he runs off with the data, knowing that he can try and find the location of the ARC server, which has more ISOs. And Dillinger blows up the building, but because he's so angry, he fucks it up and he blows himself up. Encom is all gone. All the research is gone. It looks very, very bad, but Sam has the data and he's going to try and save the world again and avenge Cora.
Oh, okay.
I see Mike's returned your messages.
How much?
No, I played the game, Andy. I bought it and I played it.
How much of your movie is actually in the grid? So there's a bit at the beginning and there's like the bit up to the sort of heisty bit. Well, after the heisty bit where the guys come in, right?
Yeah, I have fallen into the trap that we often do with, what all of us have occasionally with these pitches, where Act 1 is extremely long and detailed, and then Acts 2 and 3, which should take
really quick.
The majority of the pitch take up 3 paragraphs. It's the opening like games bit is only like 10 minutes.
Okay.
And then the exposition's another 5 or 6 minutes. I'm seeing the beginning being quite quick. I'm hoping that within 30 minutes they are back in the grid, which is then the remaining hour or so of the movie.
Yeah. Okay. No Tron.
Oh, yeah. So, oh, dang it. Yeah. Tron, Sam was going to find the backup that had the one that had Tron in it, and he was going to go in there while Cora was holding everyone off and get Tron to come and help. And then I was just like, that is unnecessary. But there is still the possibility. He's got the data for the backups, and so there's a possibility he's still out there somewhere, maybe, or maybe not. And maybe we help the franchise move away from having to include Tron because it makes less and less sense the longer this goes on.
And last question, why Cillian Murphy? Why his character being the sort of arch villain?
Because he's in Legacy and he is playing the son of the human baddie from the first movie, even though he's uncredited. I didn't realize he was uncredited in Legacy, which is kind of cool. And like, the guy who played his dad, who played the main thing I remember him from is the evil bodyguard in Titanic. Billy Zane's henchman.
Oh yeah.
And he played such a good villain in the first one. I was like, you know what? This whole thing is like fantasy and high drama and fathers and sons and legacy and dynasties and stuff. So I was like, yeah, screw it. Just have it. He's annoyed. He's been working on he's been making AI, but like language model AI like it is now in the real world, that's been doing like manipulating social media and doing evil stuff.
Okay, cool. Well, thank you both for pitching me your pitches. It's now time to get into the arena to grab your discs because you're going to battle it out in a verbal disc war. And we'll see who the winner is. So, fight!
I just want to ask a normal or a non-sarcastic or anything question at the start. When you're saying Sam is doing stuff at the start, what is he actually doing? He's not like smart enough to be like what does he actually do in the company?
Well, no, I'm having him that he is smart. Like if he's smart enough in the previous movie to like break in and get around all of their firewalls and change all the coding.
You can be a good hacker and do that, but you can make all this stuff.
I don't know,
he just seems like a normal guy in the first one. Now he seems like a super genius.
I feel like the first one is the second movie, his first appearance is setting him up as like a prodigy. I think they refer to him as like a prodigy, that he's super clever and he's wasted all his potential and all that kind of stuff. But also, as part of the exposition, I would have it be like, oh man, we've spent a decade studying like biomechanics and having to effectively become experts in DNA as well as computing over the last decade, and just cover it like that.
I don't buy that, but all right, fair enough.
Yeah, no, 10 years of study definitely isn't enough to become an expert in something if you're really clever.
Hey,
with all the money
it takes a
and
lifetime
resources.
to become an expert. Come on, 10 years is nothing. I like how you're like, how do we get rid of the bad guy? Blow himself up.
Yeah. Yeah, hoisted on his own petard.
No, mine's got more of an emotional core. Mine's got this great relationship between a father and son.
Again.
Yeah, but they finished what they started in 2.
No,
that's what this is about. This is
you restarted what they finished.
It wasn't finished. It wasn't finished. They never got a real good goodbye.
The same bad guy with the same plan, which is to
but that's what we wanted to see at the end of the
into the real world.
When he was like, "I'm going to get out there," you're like, "Yeah, let's see that." I got Tron in the real world. That's a great fucking third act of our reality being infected.
It's not,
and like all these weird
just,
CGI Jeff Bridges everywhere.
Yeah, it's just Jeff Bridges zombies fighting with families in their living room, being like, "No,
how scary is that? How scary is that?" And then we can play it dark, where at the end maybe they all die.
We're all We're here for the bonkers Tron crazy light show visuals.
I've got that in
not
mind.
CGI Jeff Bridges fighting a mum in the living room.
I've got loads of CGI Jeff Bridges. That's what you want. But I've also got all the good stuff. The light cycles. They go into the game. They come out of the game. Mine's got a lot more heart, I believe, than Drew's long one act, and then
a lot more heart
fights, and that's it.
Than a woman who has accepted humanity and realized she's going to save the world, and then has to let that go and literally have the moment of realizing that she's not the last of her kind. She can, by destroying herself and her entire legacy, that she can actually allow 2 entire species to continue, and being that brave, and Sam having to deal with that.
I didn't get that at all.
Well, that's on you, buddy. It's not.
Stop stealing things from the games.
That clear.
All right, and come up with original things. All right, Agent Smith fights and shit like that. Let's move on.
I stole memories being stored in trees, and also that's not stealing. That's just fucking canon for the series now. If you're too lazy to go out and fucking play the game,
I'm sorry, I'm not made of money and can just buy new games.
How much have you spent on takeaways in the last week? And could you spare £15? To play
Absolutely
this on Steam.
Not. Is that a good? Is that it? This is a good plug for the game. Is that it? Yeah. Only £15 for Tron.
It is.
Yeah, actually, okay. I might get that, but I didn't know that before going in, so that's unfair. He's privy to information I'm not. Mine's a lot more fun. All right, mine's what you want after. You want to see this bad guy get into the real world and try and take it over.
I don't want to see that.
Absolutely. You got a boring villain. Nothing was set up about him in the first one. That's why I kill him off. I tried to put him in. It didn't work.
How do you continue to tell interesting stories in the Tron world if the stakes are only ever, oh no, something bad's going to get out. Oh no, we stopped it.
No, he's completely gone now. Him and Tron have gone. This is the end. I was going to say, maybe it's like Tron as something else now. We can change the title, but it's still there. There's loads of stuff you can put in there, but now everything's back to normal. It's all happy.
Okay, so
you did a just on that. I don't like getting involved, but you did do an after credit scene of Clue being in the internet.
That's
so
right. So the option's there if Disney want to go ahead. If not, we can leave it, and he can just be like in the ooh. He could be that creepy thing that you always think is on your computer looking at you,
like fucking Moriarty in the BBC Sherlock. He's actually dead, but they spend a decade you never know. Being like, oh, maybe he's come. No, he's dead. Maybe no, he's dead. Oh, but maybe.
Okay, go on.
Andy just redid. He just did the second movie again, but more, and in the real world with creepy Jeff Bridges. Zombie,
so good to see.
Army.
Do not tell me you do want to see that, like Act 3 and like Act 2, and obviously Act 1 because it's
all right. Are you seeing it as like a tidal? So Jeff Bridges only takes over a person who's had the games, the the laptop in their
disc in.
head,
Yeah.
and so he can't. How so?
Are they all dead as well? After,
Well, that's the thing is you could make it dark as in they do, and then like because originally it was going to be this whole thing of like man versus AI, man versus computer. How much should we trust computers? So we could have that, and basically if they want to die, and then be like, oh, it's a lesson learned. If not, their brain can again quote unquote reboot, and they can come back to normal.
They stop being Jeff Bridges. They go,
yeah, then they go back. Yeah.
But there's some CGI left of their face, and
maybe
some,
like his
some of them
eye
have
is left.
his nose,
Yeah.
some of them have his eyes,
their chin just drops
some
off.
of them have his hair forever.
That'd be amazing. Yeah, don't take it away from me, no.
Okay.
And no Tron. Are you kidding me? It's the fucking title, Drew.
He can't be in it forever.
Come on, Drew.
Hey, you've killed him. You've definitively
I've still
killed
got
him.
it in. He's an important part of mine. He saves the main character.
You can't just have
Is
him
he?
show up for
let me
a
have
little...
a look through your pitch. Let me have a look. I can't find it. Hold on. Find Tron. No, it's saying no results found.
All right, Andy. Again, you said he's definitively, absolutely dead, but then have teased a post-credit scene where the films are going to continue. So how are you going to do?
Yeah, because it's not Tron.
Movie?
It's whatever's next after Tron. We call it something else.
It's still going to be called Tron. There is no way that Disney
maybe it's like it's something else. Then we can maybe there's something else. But the new hero of film 4 is called Tron.
Well, that's how I see them doing it. Like they'll make it that you can be a Tron. A Tron is like a warrior for the users or something, and it becomes a title. It's the whole, is James Bond actually his name, or is it a code name thing?
Just not in your pitch. That's what I'm saying.
All right.
I don't care. Tron was barely in the last one.
I know.
Right, I think I've made my decision. Andy, you've got some good moments in yours. I like
a lot.
Part of me does like the fact that you bring it into the real world, but then I'm also like, but also it is in the real world, it's not in the Tron world. I like the idea of Clue still being alive. I didn't massively enjoy the fact that you've brought Jeff Bridges back to sacrifice himself again. I like the idea of like the company making these chips that are put in everyone's head. I think that's a cool concept. I think you could have gone a little bit further with that. Drew, I like your ideas. I think basing it around what was left off on the second one, and the idea of using the information that they gained from Cora's disc, and then the betrayal. I really I like the idea of the father and son, the aspect that you're going for with the son of the villain from the first movie. I think maybe you could have Tron in it just for this last one.
Just in the background somewhere.
just in this last one. I think your idea of having him in it would be good. Just for one more, and then I think you're right, it needs to move on. But there can be only one winner, and I am going to pick this week's winner as Drew Toynbee.
The film with no Tron on. No Tron. Should we watch Tron? Which one? Not 3 because he's not in it.
Andy, I just feel like for a Tron movie, the grid, we don't see much of the grid. Because
it's on the outside.
I know.
Comes
and
out
I think,
in the third act.
Yeah,
we are the grid.
Yeah, but if you think of how bad Jeff Bridges looked in the real world, how bad is he going to look?
We'd fix that.
We'd fix that.
We've got technology now. We can fix it.
But yes, well done, Drew. Commendable, Andy, with your idea of Tron 2, Tron Legacy 2.
Tron Legacy Part 2.
Yeah, Part 2.
Yeah.
The rebirth,
Legacy reboot. Yeah.
Tron Revolutions / Reloaded Matrix, Agent Smith. I'm joking. Sorry. Drew,
Yes.
what movie are we going to be doing next episode?
Well, this episode, or the next episode, should be coming out around the 11th of July. And on the 14th odd, there's a little movie called Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1 coming out that has a stunt in it that everyone in the world has seen 50 million times that should have been the most impressive bit of the film, but now everyone's already seen it.
But we haven't seen it on the big screen yet.
We haven't, and that's true.
The main thing.
I would like for us to watch Mission Impossible Fallout, the sixth Mission Impossible movie, and then pitch our sequels to that.
Get ready for hour-long Tom Cruise running scenes.
Yes. Oh my God!
Most of these movies. I've got a question: will we be penalised because this is Reckoning Part 1? Will we be penalised if we technically end on like a cliffhanger or something like that?
No,
leading to a Part 2, basically.
No, yeah, you can.
So I only have to write half a pitch.
If you really want, although that pisses me off so much. I will say that's the only problem that I have with Across the Spider-Verse. But anyway, we'll cross that bridge another time. It's ignore the fact that Dead Reckoning is a Part 1. It's if your subsequent idea is a 2-movie idea, wicked. If it's one idea, if it ends the franchise forever, if it is just another self-contained story, I don't mind.
Okay, there we have it. So, ladies and gentlemen, users, that is it. But I'm going to do a little special shout out to somebody who is a friend of our podcast, Mike Bithell, who is a special guest who's been on this podcast a couple of times now. He's a lovely guy, and he's a games designer, and he has created a game in the world of Tron. The game is called Tron Identity. It's available now, and I'll read you the blurb. Something has been taken. Enter a new grid and forge alliances via visual novel gameplay, uncovering truth through identity disc puzzles. Make critical decisions and plot your own course in a world without a creator. It's got very positive reviews on Steam. It is available on... what's it available on, Drew? I think it's available on everything, isn't it?
Currently, it is available on Steam, on PC, or Nintendo Switch.
There you go.
But historically, their games have come to mobile and other consoles as well at some point. $14.99. Would you rather have a crap takeaway like Andy does, or would you like Tron Identity from Bithell Games? Yeah,
I know what I want to choose.
Splash out and have a crap takeaway while you play it, and just have a wild night.
I don't have crap takeaways. What's this thing about? I'm not spending 15 quid on a crap takeaway.
So yeah, big shout out to Mike Bithell and his game Tron Identity. Thank you for the suggestion as well to do Tron Legacy. I hope you enjoyed it. Give us a little tweet if you think Andy should have won with his agent Tron. That's it, ladies and gentlemen. It's goodbye from... Oh, actually, one more thing. Please shout about this podcast if you can. That is the way that we will grow our audience, is if you go, hey, I know this podcast about 4 nerds talking about sequels. Hey, you should listen to it. Let us know what you think. That's the way we're going to grow this community, is if we start talking about these sequels, start talking about our community. We want to build a community of loving film lovers and sequel lovers and
lover lovers
and lover lovers and takeaway lovers and anyway,
lovers.
Oompa Loompa lovers, every kind of lover, Mr. Shabba Shabba. Right, so thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Head on down to our Patreon if you would like to be a patron of the show, and all that's left is to say goodbye from our runner-up, Andy.
Goodbye.
And this week's winner, Drew Toynbee.
Goodbye, everybody.
And it's goodbye from me. Bye.
Bye.